All right, welcome back. Now we need to just finish up the bearing cover and get moving on to our next part. So the first thing I want to do is I want to create holes in here. So I've got a couple options. I can create a sketch on one of these. Well, let's do it that way. I'm just going to create a sketch here. I want the hole to be here. The only problem is when I create this sketch here, notice how it's grabbed this geometry for me. It hasn't actually grabbed, maybe it has now, I don't know, it may be automatic. Let's find out. So I'm going to just grab a circle here. I'm going to find the middle of this overall circle, which is this blue circle here. That's the center point. And then drag out and type in 4.5. That's the size of the hole that's going to be big enough for the screw to pass through. Now I want to do that same thing on this one. And when I search around, I can't find that center circle hole. That's because on this sketch, the only circle that was recorded was this one up here that I had clicked on for the surface. So this is where we have to do the project tool. So now I'm going to hit P for project. I'm going to come down here and click on this one and this one. And then I'm going to say OK. Now I have those circles projected onto my sketch. I can use their geometry to line stuff up. So I'm going to grab a new circle here and just do the 4.5 every time. The other option I could have done is with that first starting circle, I could have done a circular pattern and made these other three as well. All right, now I'm ready to extrude. Hit E for extrude. I'm going to click on all of these circles and I'm going to grab the extrusion and drag it through. Now I don't like over extruding like this. Ooh, actually I need to turn the panel back on. So I actually want to cut this through the plywood as well. So there's a hole through the plywood and the outside. Now I don't like over extruding like this. So what I'm going to do is come over here to extent type, and I'm going to choose distance and all the way through, and then I'm going to click OK. And now when we look, we can see we've cut not only the hole through the bearing cover, but also the hole through the plywood. So we're already one step ahead. All right, now I'm going to hide the outside panel again. I'm going to flip around to the back side of the bearing cover, and now I need to cut a hole for the bearing and a hole for the shaft. So here I'm going to create a sketch right on the surface I want to cut. I'm going to grab my circle tool, starting in the middle. I'm going to drag out and go 22.3 millimeters, enter. I'm going to extrude that, and my extrusion depth is 3.4 millimeters. Again, I notice, oh, wait a second, it's going in the wrong direction. Easy fix. I'm just going to come over here and put a negative instead. Hit enter. That's the extrusion for the bearing. The bearing will fit in that hole nicely. I need another one, so I'm going to hit another sketch. Notice how I'm not doing very much with each sketch. I try to make one extrusion per sketch. And look, you can look at my history bar down here at the bottom. You see extrusion or sketch, extrusion, sketch, extrusion. We did a little bevel, sketch, extrusion, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That's typically the workflow in Fusion. Don't try to put too much on one sketch. It's better to keep a sketch simple and then to do multiple sketches for different parts of it. All right, so center point here out. This is a 9 millimeter hole. And then I'm going to extrude this, E for extrude. Click on this hole. Now this one's tricky. I actually want it to be just 2 millimeters from this surface. But if I just drag it, you can see I'm getting like, it's weirdly off. Like it's not an even number that I can go with. I could play around with it, but even easier, I can have Fusion do the work for me. So if I come over here to extent type, and instead of choosing distance, I choose to object. What that does is it's asking me to click on an object that I want to extrude to. In this case, I want to extrude to this face to start with. And when I do that, it's going to show me that it's 13.6 millimeters. So now I know how far it is. I can change the extent type from object back to distance. And notice how it's put that number in there for me already. I'm going to click here. I want to go 2 millimeters away from that. So I'm going to go 11. Well, if I didn't know, I might try 15 first. And it's like, okay, oh, that was the wrong way. So I'm going to try 11 next. And yeah, that's perfect. If I look at it from sort of that view, you can see I'm 2 millimeters from the end surface. I'm going to click OK. And then I'm going to hit the view button. Awesome. And let's look at the other side real quick. Yeah, this is perfect. That, my friends, is the front bearing cover. And now the last thing I want to do is just give it an appearance. So I'm going to hit A for appearance. And this time I'm going to make this, again, if you wanted to make yours liquid, I don't know what's in liquid. That doesn't even make sense. Water, I've never used any of these. I'm going to try this just because it sounds like fun. Okay, that actually looks pretty rad. I'm not going to use liquid, but I really want to use liquid. It will have an effect. So if you use a different material, if you do some calculations like the weight of the object or something, Fusion will give you a weird weight because you said part of it was water. But we're not going to be using that. So feel free to use whatever you'd like. I'm going to use paint because I'm trying to be a mature adult these days and do things that aren't silly. And I'm going to use a metallic paint here. And I'm going to go with the gold. That looks cool. All right, awesome. And again, once I've used it, now it's up here. I don't have to go find it every time. I can just grab it and put it on another part. I'm going to turn my outside panel back on, go back to my home view, close the appearance panel. Whoops, outside view back on. I'm going to hit Control S for save. I don't need to put a description. If I wanted to say here that this is, oh yeah, this is front bearing complete, I could put a description there so I could go back and find this exact moment in time. But no need to do that if you don't want to. Awesome, all done. Next video, we'll start learning how to do the back bearing.